Hello guys, welcome back. Now today I want to talk about the Dallas Stars and their situation going into the trade deadline. Now the Stars are 33, 20, and 4, and of course they are looking to buy at the deadline. Just now I heard the rumor of them trying to acquire Luke Glendening, which I have my mixed opinions about. It is good if this deal ends up going through. For the now, I think he has like 3 more years at 1,700,000. So he isn't on a terrible deal, but the length kind of worries me because by then guys like Jason Dickinson will be a fair, not really young there. Rodney Tufte will be a lot older, and of course you got a lot more forward depth than you would right now. And when the contract ends, he'll have to have a roster spot really, unless you're going to send him down. So that would kind of block the progression of like Gurionov, guys like those to get back in the NHL. That worries me just a bit there. Now the other guy that has been rumors forever, you got Rick Nash, who the Predators are just pursuing heavily. Then you got the Stars, who are basically second fiddle to them. I don't know if the Stars will give a better package than Nashville. I don't think that they will. But I definitely take Nash in the top 6, maybe even top 9. Nash is a very complete player. He's played very well this season in both goal department. He's actually pretty good defensively, as I've seen through a couple of games that I've watched. He's actually really, really good, solid all-around guy this year, and he's really playing well. I definitely wouldn't mind him on the top 9 or the top 6, of course, but I wouldn't want to overpay for him. The most I'd go for is like a second-round pick and a decent prospect. I don't want to give up a first-round pick, plain and simple. I just don't want to do that. But a second-round pick and maybe a couple prospects at best. I just see like someone in the first-round pick. I think that we're going to draft somebody good there, especially since this draft is supposed to be very deep. I would like to keep the first-round pick, but I think that giving more than a second-round pick and a couple prospects for Nash would be a mistake. Especially since he'll be a rental, and if he goes to Dallas and goes on a playoff run and the Stars won't win the Cup, but maybe he goes for a couple of rounds, maybe the Stars go for a couple of rounds, he probably won't come back, and he'll probably go into free agency. If you give up a first for that, I really don't have a good feeling about that. But also a big thing to know is that the Stars have every single draft pick of theirs in this upcoming draft. They also have a 4th round pick from Chicago from this draft. So they basically have all the assets that they could want for this upcoming draft, and they could possibly use a draft pick or 2 to sway a trade. Now the Stars do have holes in both top 4 defense and in top 6 forward groups, so they could look to improve maybe even both this trade deadline. I'd rather see one go than the other, maybe try and just kind of fix one hole rather than the other, but if I had to choose one, fix the top 4 defense or the top 6, I'd rather go for the top 6, honestly. Top 6 forward, kind of like the Nash kind of category there, honestly, because the Stars are kind of inconsistent, especially with the top 6. Their second line doesn't look too great, at least compared to a lot of other teams, a lot of other contenders, and the defense has been a lot better than people do give it credit for. I think they're like 6th or 7th in goals against in the league, something like that, and they're really underrated. Some nights they'll have fantastic games, and sometimes they'll have to have kind of stinkers, but most of the time the Stars defense is actually pretty good. I'd rather see another top 6 forward come in, but I'd rather top 4 defenseman, especially with Mathot coming back. But also, the Stars could also make a big splash at the deadline. Maybe get a huge guy. I don't really believe that necessarily, but they could possibly do that. There is quite a few guys that could be a trade available from New York, Ottawa. There's lots of sellers that could want to sell a guy that's like Erik Karlsson type. Now, I don't think the Stars will go after something like that, but they can always surprise us, right? Then there's a guy like Spezza on the team who maybe is available at the trade deadline. Now, I don't think that he'll be traded necessarily because, one, I don't think anybody's going to take that cap hit. There might be a couple of teams that might want it at retained salary, but I think that's about it. And another thing is that the Stars should want that depth on like 3rd, 4th line. He is playing second line time right now, which I do not agree with. But if you can use him as like a depth guy who does play like a depth guy, he's not a bad option there. Now again, the Stars could just do nothing at the deadline, which isn't necessarily a bad idea. They don't have too many problems, though they would like to fix that with a Nash, or maybe a top 4 defenseman. But they could bolster the lineup a bit, but maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they want to keep kind of competitive while sustaining the future as well, which isn't a bad idea at all. The Stars don't have too many problems, and maybe they just want to keep the course going and just see what happens, and that can definitely happen. But the sense that I'm getting here from Jim Neal and the rumors that have been happening and all the things that I've seen is that the Stars are going to try and be as busy as possible, not necessarily getting the biggest moves, but trying to just not really shake things up, but trying to put some new faces on the team, which, again, isn't a bad idea, but we'll see about that. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do at the deadline. They have lots of options here, and maybe they want to seize it or just lay back. They can do whatever they want. That's good night, guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Ring that bell if you haven't, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.